So let's dive into a system that's over 5,000 years old, but is somehow becoming more relevant than ever today: Vedic Astrology. It's also known as Jyotish, which literally means the science of light. Today we're going to unpack what makes it so different, and why so many people feel like it's giving them a new level of clarity.
You know that feeling, right? You check your daily horoscope and it says something so generic it could apply to literally anyone. You might face a challenge today, but you'll get through it. Yeah, if that sounds familiar, you are definitely not alone. It's that exact feeling that leads people to start looking for something with a little more substance.
And that search usually leads to a pretty mind-blowing discovery. There isn't just one zodiac. See, the Western astrology most of us grew up with is based on the Earth's seasons. But Vedic astrology? It's based on the actual observable positions of the stars in the sky. So think of it like this. They're two totally different maps of the exact same sky. Okay, so this brings us to the single biggest difference between the two. And it's the reason a lot of people think Vedic astrology is so much more precise. It all comes down to a big secret the zodiac's been keeping for a very long time.
Here's the deal. Western astrology uses what's called the tropical zodiac. It was basically frozen in time, locked to the seasons about 2,000 years ago. Vedic astrology, on the other hand, uses the sidereal zodiac. Now this one's a moving map. It actually adjusts for a tiny wobble in the Earth's axis. This means it shows you where the constellations are right now, not where they were thousands of years ago.
And that little wobble, it has a name, the precession of the equinoxes. And it's a totally real scientific thing. Now, it causes the stars to drift about 1 degree every 72 years. It might not sound like much, but over centuries, oh boy, does it add up. Right now, the two zodiacs are out of sync by about 24 degrees. That's almost an entire zodiac sign.
So what on earth does this actually mean for you? Well, because of that 24-degree gap, something like 80% of us find out our sun sign is actually the sign before our Western one. All of a sudden, an Aries is probably a Pisces, a Gemini is a Taurus. You get the idea. For a lot of people, this is a huge aha moment that completely changes how they see themselves.
But look, figuring out your real sign is really just scratching the surface. This whole system is designed to be way more than just a personality quiz. It aims to be a blueprint of your karma. So while Western astrology puts a huge focus on your sun sign, your ego, Vedic astrology really zooms in on two other things. First, the moon. This is your inner world, your mind, your emotions. And second is the ascendant, which is the sign that was rising on the horizon the moment you were born. This represents the actual path your life takes. The goal here is to understand the why and the when behind the repeating patterns in your life. And this is where things get almost spookily precise. Vedic astrology has this amazing, unique tool called the dasha system. It's basically a predictive timeline that maps out your entire life into different planetary chapters, showing you which themes are going to be front and center and when.
For example, you might spend 16 years in what's called a Jupiter dasha, a time that's all about growth, learning, and good fortune. But then, that could be followed immediately by a 19-year Saturn dasha, which brings themes of discipline, hard work, and major life lessons. This explains so much, right? It's why your life can feel like a totally different movie from one decade to the next, even when nothing on the outside seems to have changed.
And believe it or not, the detail doesn't stop there. The system gets even more granular by dividing the zodiac into 27 nakshatras, or lunar mansions. This adds this incredible layer of nuance. It's why two people born under the exact same sign can have completely different personalities and lives.
Okay, so this is where the big question usually comes up. If all this is kind of mapped out, what about free will? Am I just some puppet being controlled by the planets? Well, the system's answer to that is actually a really powerful modern analogy.
Your astrological chart isn't a life sentence, it's a GPS. It shows you where the open roads are and it gives you a heads up about the traffic jams up ahead. You know, those really challenging times. But you are always the one driving the car. You get to choose whether you take a detour, pull over for a bit, or just plow straight into that gridlock. The choice is yours.
So how does this old GPS work exactly? Well, you can break it down into 4 key parts. First, you've got the houses. They tell you where in your life things are happening. Is it career, relationships, family? Then you have the planets. They bring the energy, showing how it's going to happen. The dasha system we talked about, that's the master clock. It tells you when these life events get triggered. And finally, you have transits, which are like the daily weather report, adding that real-time flavor to the bigger picture.
So the most crucial point to get here is this. The whole system is designed to empower you, not to limit you. The chart is your map, the dasha is your timeline. But you
Your choices, your free will, you are always, always the driver. All right, let's bring it all together. We've talked about the sky, karma, cosmic clocks, all this cool stuff. But what's the real takeaway here? What are you actually supposed to do with all this? Why does any of it matter in your life, right now?
Honestly, the most useful way to think about this is to reframe it completely. You don't have to believe in it like it's a religion. Instead, just think of it as a super personalized cosmic weather forecast. I mean, you check the weather to see if you need an umbrella, right? It's the same idea. You can look at your chart to understand the energetic climate of your life.
At the end of the day, this is a tool for self-awareness. It's a way to get clarity on why those same patterns keep showing up in your career or your relationships. It's about being able to make better choices because you have more awareness. And most of all, it's about empowering you to work with the flow of your life instead of feeling like you're constantly fighting against it.
So I'll just leave you with this to think about. If you had a reliable forecast, if you knew a storm was coming, or that a beautiful sunny period was just around the corner, what would you do differently? How would that knowledge change the way you navigate your life, starting today?